Hey, folks, a good Friday morning, everyone. Welcome to the Morning Huddle live from First Financial Bank. Terry Slavens along with Coach Brian Hewlett with you. And we're going to talk all things Eastland Maverick football, but if you're out and about, be sure and stop by and join us. They have some really good cookies. The chocolate and the peanut butter are especially good. As April nods her head in agreement. Anyway, Coach, let's talk a little Jim Ned Indians. Last week, a little bit of a surprising first half, maybe coming off the bye week. We hadn't had, I guess these guys that are playing now, none of them's ever had to do it in mid-season at the varsity level.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you, if the bye week, I hope, I guess it had something to do with it. I didn't feel like it going in. I sure didn't see it out of our boys going in, as any other coaches. But just a lot of circumstances, and, for whatever reason, we weren't sharp. And I don't think it was physically. We were physically there. The conditioning level never got us. I don't think we were outmanned or at any point, but, just a lot of mental mistakes. It was the problem that plagued us the most first half. So we struggled with the first half and just getting ahead and staying ahead by a large margin and putting the game away like we'd like to do.
One of the things in the first half, we had a touchdown called back because of a penalty. We weren't able to score on that possession. I think we ended up trying to kick a field goal that we hooked wide, and that was maybe one of the turning points. And then the onside kick, I think they went down and scored, came back. They never kicked the ball more than 15 yards all night, but they recovered that one onside kick, punched it in again. They missed an extra point. We go in halftime leading 21-20.
Yeah, the touchdown callback, not getting in, missed a field goal. We only had another scenario where we, I don't remember the exact yard line. We rushed down to the 4, 5, 6 yard line and have another penalty that pushed us back 40, 50 yards and ended up getting down there and then having first and goal and then being pushed back again by penalties and not scoring there. And then on one of those turnarounds, just something we worked, I say probably at least 50 times during the week, a certain play they ran out one formation and just give it up for 80 yards. And then turn around and, I asked Coach Williamson after the game, he just said, we just felt like not going to kick deep to us, and then the chance of us scoring 80 yards versus 50 is all the same, so they onside every kick of the night, and they get the onside kick. So from a standpoint of having the ability to go up 28-7 or 35-7, you turn around, it's 21-20, and you're in a halftime.
You mentioned penalties. By far, probably the most flags, most penalty yards we've had all year.
Yeah, and we committed some dumb ones, really did. Some of them, you feel like in most games you're always going to get those questionable calls or, one or two in a game sometimes. So you really got to limit those dumb ones. And, on one of those long plays that got called back, we just committed a dumb penalty. Those things that we can't do and we haven't done to this point, and we need to cut them out.
I tell you, in the last 3 weeks, I've attended 6 or 7 football games. I haven't seen so many penalties in all my years is what I'm seeing, not just at the high school level, but at the college level. Just flags going everywhere.
Yeah, we ran into that last night in our 7th grade in one of our games. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Be part of the game, I guess.
Another thing that was sort of quirky Friday night, have you ever seen a player that was ejected and then they failed to notify the coach and he comes back in and plays the next series?
Yeah, but I didn't see the signal. Did you see
I
him?
saw the signal.
Okay, so see, I guess I didn't.
It wasn't very forceful.
It might not have been, and so I didn't see him ejected, and so I didn't even know about it. I probably would have said something, but they eventually got it right. The guy that originally called it noticed it and got it called. That's pretty good.
Well, there was 2 ejections in the game. Do you know what they were for? We never could quite figure out.
One kid threw a punch.
Okay.
That was on our sideline, and that was the one you were talking about. And then the other one was just multiple 15-yard penalties. You get 2 of those, you're ejected, and he had 2 of them.
Okay, that's the one thing we couldn't quite figure out because they never signaled unsportsmanlike conduct. They just signaled personal fouls. But enough about penalties and ejections. Let's talk a little bit about Samuel Joyner's big night.
Yeah, we go into halftime down 21-20 and just felt like I think we had 23 snaps to their 47 in the first half, and just felt like one bad defensive play and they made a good offensive drive, threw a reverse pass on us, made a drive. We had one bad defensive play, and then we gave up an onside kick, and then even on that, we gave up a 4th and 10 or 4th and 12 or whatever it was for the touchdown. So we've given up one drive and had the ball 23 plays, and just didn't feel like we hadn't settled into the game yet and had our opportunity. So pretty patient coming out the second half. Knew or kind of felt like Sammy was on that particular night the best thing on the field as far as just being hard to tackle and speed. We didn't think they could match his speed, and so we came out second half and just really, we do this from time to time, be able to get under center and just get the ball in a particular player's hands, and and did that 6-8 times there in the third quarter, and ended up having a 28-0 third quarter and putting the game kind of out of reach.
Defensively, Grandel Thompson had a big night.
Yeah, Grandel had a big night as Ron Harris had a good night too. That's kind of more Ron's style. He gets to play better in those kind of games. Played well, and I think on both sides of the ball, J.D. Coffey is a kid that had a good game as well. Maybe a little better than his previous one. So Grandel just continues, going to always get better. Being he's still only 5 games into his high school varsity career. Played some last year, but not much. So relatively young and inexperienced in that manner, and we just hope he continues to get better.
And also, you mentioned J.D. Coffey. J.D., after having set out a couple of years, he's knocking the rust off and maybe getting back into form here midway through the season. He looked, like you said, probably the best game that I've seen him have all year.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you said, and just being a good compliment to moving J.D. to a couple of different spots. Mason Thayer's been in the same spot for a couple of years, and he's doing a good job. But with J.D., they're all different players, so we get to maximize 2 people or in one position there, and so that's really opened up some things. And we found not just with Mason and J.D., but all of our kids, we try to find what each one of them can do well, and put them in that situation where they can be successful.
Tyler Adams, he's done a great job with the point after attempts. We didn't do the 2-point attempts last week like we do some weeks, but I think he ended up being, 8 of 9?
He's 8 of 9, and and I remind people this all the time, particularly at the high school level. It's difficult to get a snap and a hold down, and so sometimes it's easy to, when you have a miss, just to immediately say, come on, kicker, put that. There's a lot of things that go into that with the snap, with the hold, and not getting rushed at the same time. So, that's a whole thing as far as getting those kicks off and putting them in between the uprights. But, Tyler's done a super job. I think that's only 3 missed extra points all year out of 5 games, and
lots of
opportunities. So done good. A little disappointed that we missed a field goal opportunity, but we're 2 of 3 on field goals. Have had 2 onside kicks this year and then recovered both of them. So, Tyler's doing us a good job in that department.
Your long snappers, Jeremy Finley?
Jeremy and
Matt Majors.
Matt's the holder, and I'm telling you, those things, sure don't take them for granted. We spend extra time with just those 3 and trying to work that timing and get it down.
I saw a play in the McMurray game Saturday, bad snap for Angelo State. The McMurray guy ends up with it, and it's just crazy, down the field all the way back into the end zone. And lo and behold, there's a penalty flag out at the 50-yard line, and the signal is defensive offsides on the kick. And I'm like, how did that penalty get thrown at the 50-yard line?
Yeah, a little late on it.
A little late with the flag there, so they brought it back and made him do it again. Coach, we're going to take our first break. We'll come back with more of the Morning Huddle here on KATX Sports. Some other games. Well, let's talk about Thursday night, last night's games. We had everybody in action last night.
Yeah, full night, long night, but it's good to get everybody out there, and it's really nice to get everybody out there on the playing the same team, and you kind of.
He's only in 2 towns.
Only in 2 towns, and you can see more games, and you have more coaches at both sites, so help your kids out a little better. So that was always nice.
The JV Red and Black traveled to Breckenridge.
Went to Breckenridge, and I'm going to tell you, Thursday nights against Breckenridge is always one of the toughest. A bigger school, lots of kids, lots of players competing for them, and they do a good job. We went over to Breck, and we split 1-1. Our JV Black got their first win in a few weeks, which was really great for those kids to get a win. You want to win. You always want to win. You want to win every time you play. But I and our coaches understand that at certain levels, at certain times, just getting the playing time and the practice and those kinds of things is more valuable than winning. Yes, we do want to win, but so they won 27-12. It was a good game. Parker Roberts taking over at quarterback because we had to move Mason Wright up to the JV Red. I think Fabian Ojeda had 3 touchdowns. Jacob Morrow got 1 in. Jayden Jones is back from an injury, helped out a lot. Really felt like it was just a good game the whole way through and won 27-12. Let me see. Then our JV Red lost their first game of the year and really got it put on 30-6. Kind of a bad start. We're down 18-0 before we knew what hit us. And then from there on out is a 12-6 game. Just didn't, from what I gather, didn't match their intensity and their physicality and on those games. When you got evenly matched teams, generally the team that's more physical is going to win, and a little disappointing that we didn't do that, but those guys will bounce back and be ready next week.
And then here in Eastland, we had the junior high teams in action.
Long night of junior high starting at 5, ending around 10 o'clock. Our back team got beat 20-0. Boyd Breckenridge's got a ton of kids. They had over 40 kids out there, and just got a lot of, we're primarily on that team 7th graders, and they had some bigger, faster kids. It's hard to deal with, but our kids did a super job. Our 7th grade Red, sort of like our JV Black, hadn't won in a couple of weeks, and they really, minus 1 game, have played good. Just a little thing here, a missed snap there, a safety here, a tip ball that was pick 6 last week there. Just hadn't been able to win, but played really well last night. We won 14-6. Only touchdown for Breckenridge came on a toss pass, and I'm telling you, we touched the ball. If our corner was a half-inch taller, it wouldn't have been a touchdown. We won 14-6, and then there had 3 touchdowns called back, so we really felt like we had a good game that really could have been more decisive. And then capped night off with their 8th grade winning 20-0. And once again, I say this every week, those guys are the most physical group we have. Well, from the opening kickoff, they're going to hit you. But the good thing to see out of them last night was they executed offensively very well. It's the best execution they've had in 2 years, and starting to move the ball around different people, ran it well, and threw it around the field good. So that was good to see. It's a fun game.
All right, and next week, Thursday night schedule?
Next week we got Merkel, and we're all with Merkel with the exception of our junior high Black, and at this moment we don't have one. What you run into this time of year, you're 5-6 weeks into the year, and you've had an injury or 2, and then the first grade check hit last, it'll actually be at 3:30 today that'll take over. So a lot of towns can't keep up with the 3rd junior high team. So we're still out there looking. We'll hold off on that through early Monday morning, probably see if we can find one. So, but as of right now, junior high Black doesn't have one. It's at Merkel with our 7th and 8th Red at 5, and then we're back here with both their JV starting at 5 against Merkel.
Grade checks, are we okay?
Pretty good, man. I can't tell you junior high wise officially. I know there's round 1 or maybe 2 a team, so we're looking at 4, 5, 6 kids max out of 70 plus or 80, whatever it is, and then in the high school out of 80 something, 81, 82 kids, we lost 2. Which you don't want to lose any, but man, if you're only losing 1 out of every 40 kids, that's above your normal student average, and we're really proud of our kids on that.
Some other district games of interest from last week. Clyde Breckenridge. Clyde wins that one 7-6. Breck scores with about 1:24 left to go in the ball game, misses the extra point.
And had already missed a field goal in the game as well. Just kind of an odd game you don't see many 7-6 scores anymore, and especially with the team that can be as explosive as Clyde, and then obviously Breck scored some points this year. Just a really good football game, and went back and forth, and came down to the very end.
Comanche beat Tully 21-7. That game was close in the second half.
Yeah, first district game, Comanche's probably up at home against Breckenridge, and having to travel to Merkel is a difficult deal. And we'll get some of that next week. Merkel's always going to play good at home, and really felt like I talked to Coach Huntersmeyer and Coach Mullins this week, and they both felt like that's the best Merkel's played in a while. So had to sit in there and battle, and eventually got away from them, and got the 2-0 start district for Comanche.
Tonight we have Merkel traveling to Clyde.
Yeah, it's kind of very similar to ours, except we don't have 2 wins. Merkel and Breck are kind of in the same boat, both of them, playoff teams for the last couple of years, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many years in a row, and both of them are facing, 0-2 starts, and they're going to need a victory and going to be backs against the wall and come out fighting.
Dublin at Comanche, that's the big country game of the week. I spoke with Evan Wren on Wednesday, and he said hadn't had the opportunity to put Dublin in a big country game of the week in a while, so he wanted to take this opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it's good. Coach Sabeto's done a great job getting those guys going. Not as quite as long as not being able to win as many games or being successful. But Coach Huntersmeyer at Comanche's done just as well to bring those guys back. There are 2 teams that are, I guess, 5-1 probably on the year. Both of them, one of them's 2-0, one of them's 1-0 in districts. So a big game that those 2 teams haven't experienced in a few years, and that's exciting for those kids, and good for those people.
And our cross county team, Cisco, they take on Hawley tonight.
Yeah, coming off the bye. I guess they're probably at home. I really don't even know. They're on the road, so Cisco's playing at a high level right now. I don't think Hawley's had as good a start to the year as they'd want. So, look out maybe.
Look out. Another big game to watch. Nothing to do with us, but Gothwaite and Hico should be a good one.
Yeah, it's interesting. I thought that was week 10 last year, but I guess I can't remember. And I know it was a big. I think Hico won that game last year. I guess it's Hico lost.
No, they're undefeated.
Undefeated, and of course, you look at Goldthwaite's record, might be confused by how good they are, but their non-district schedule's one of the tops there is. So yeah, it's an interesting game.
All right, Coach, we're going to take our final break. When we come back, we will talk Breckenridge Buckaroo football. You're listening to the Morning Huddle on KTX Sports. Thank you. And welcome back to the Morning Huddle here on KTX 97.7. Coach, district game number 2 coming up tonight. Breckenridge, they travel to Eastland. I'm always glad to play Breckenridge in Eastland rather than traveling to Breckenridge, even though it's a short drive. What can we expect out of the Buckaroos tonight?
Normal, typical, same as long as I've been around playing or coaching against Breckenridge is big, strong, and physical. And that's going to be them. They got that. We'll fight you kind of mentality, and then that's what you better expect for, and they're going to play us. So either team's record out the window, what kind of team either one has, what time of year it is, and any of that, and they're going to play us good, and you can guarantee that.
You figure Coach Freeman's probably used the card, hey, we got to get a district win now.
Oh, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, can't afford to go down 0-3.
I kind of probe some of the coaches because I really, honestly, I take them, you can cliche it or not, but to me, it's 1 week at a time. I had to go look at the schedule to see who to call Wednesday to set up next week's games because I don't even look that far ahead. I just want to win the next one. And so I was asking some of them, what does it look like playoffs? What does it take? What does it got? And they all kind of tell me you need to get 3 wins. So the way you look at it, without beating us tonight, Breck's already put themselves in a must-win rest of the way, and nobody ever wants to be in that scenario. So definitely going to be ready and going to be fighting, and put yourself in a mind or of a 17, 18-year-old kid who got one chance left to make playoffs of their last year. So they're going to be ready.
Offensively, what can we expect from them?
A little bit of everything, all over the place, tackle over, 1 back, no back, 2 back, 3 back, spread it out, run it up inside, kind of whatever they think they can do to you, that they're going to do, but very multiple formation, pound it if they can. If you would let them, they'd sit there and run the thing over you. It can be huge up front. They'll have 2 or 3 guys in that 270, 260, 280 size frame, and we'll try to run the ball if you let them. And then if not, they can spread it out and throw it as well.
On the offensive side of the football, what names can we expect to be calling out tonight?
There's really just not one person that you can zero in on. A lot of teams have that kind of deal. There's really not with Breckenridge. They battled some injuries. They're playing with their second quarterback at the moment. Well, unless the starter comes back tonight, we don't know about it, which we wouldn't know. But
He wouldn't share that.
yeah, they're not going to tell us. And they got a sophomore playing. He's done a really good job. Just really, honestly, just a good overall offense that spreads the ball around a lot of people.
And on the defensive side?
Same thing they've been doing the last couple of years. They'll throw a wrinkle in there and even front every once in a while, or a stack look. But they'll usually settle back into the 3-4 quarters coverage in the secondary, and they'll be aggressive with it at times. Stunts you, come after you, slant their front, and play hard. I know you look at the score, the Graham score, and it's a 44-0 game, and you think, well, that's typical. One-sided game, and it's really not. First of all, you got to understand how good Graham is, and second of all, just to go watch it. There's several 3-and-outs in the first and second quarter by Breckenridge's defense. So they're going to play hard, and they're going to fight you and come after you the whole time.
Coach Freeman in his third season up there? Fourth season?
I think it's his fourth, I believe. Fourth, yes, sir.
Okay, Coach, health-wise, how did we come out of the Gym Ned game?
Yeah, pretty good. This time of year, you're always going to have a kid or two probably, questionable, or may play, may not play, or out. So for the most part, we're doing pretty good in that right now.
All right, and next week we travel to Merkel on the road. It's nice to be home again. It's
28 days. Today's makes 28 days since we played here last.
With the bye week and then going on the road, out on the road going into the bye week, on the road coming out of the bye week, it's going to go. Fridays at home make for long afternoons. I'm ready to go ahead and head to the stadium early. And we're
I understand. I'm ready to be home. I've missed playing here, and hopefully we will have a big crowd and help. We need some energy. It's you take that Goldthwaite road game, and first of all, it's a long trip. You're coming off a big game, and it's raining. So I understand some of those things. And the next week you're at Gym Ned, just kind of a dead atmosphere. And I'm excited to be home, and hopefully we got that thing packed and everybody's going to be yelling.
Big crowd at our last home game, which was homecoming. Actually was told this morning by the band boosters, they set a record for sales ever on that Grandview game, homecoming.
There's a lot of people there.
It was the biggest week ever, not just Friday night, but including Thursday night. So
I hope we can repeat that tonight.
Look for a big crowd. I want to remind everyone before we sign off, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, it's the KTX Frisbee Fling New Car Show at Brookshire's. That'll start at 10 o'clock. If you have a Frisbee, come down and register between 9 and 10 o'clock and and we have tons and tons of prizes to give away all day long, along with free hot dogs, free drinks, and free chips. Thanks to my guest, Coach Brian Hewlett. Thanks to my engineer back in the studio, Matthew Householder. Thank you for your time this time. Till next time, I'm Terry Slavens. Have a great weekend, everyone.